got some pretty exciting news. Lightroom finally came out with some new features using AI technology. I've heard they vastly upgraded their denoise feature, which helps reduce the noise in images taken in low light. So I'm gonna head out here to the park during blue hour, get some low light nature photography, try and do some low light self-portraits, try and exploit the best I can this new denoise feature, as well as compare it to some other denoise software like Topaz Labs Denoise AI. So let's go ahead and head out to the park. So really, adding an enhanced denoiser to Lightroom is a big deal for a lot of reasons, and I'm quite excited about it. I mean, there might be scenarios where you're shooting at a wedding, you don't have the best lighting scenario. Maybe you don't want the look of a flash, and you want to use ambient, natural lighting. Well, can denoise push the boundaries of that? I think it has the possibility to change the way you creatively use light, but it doesn't just stop at weddings. Night photography, especially street night photography, is an overwhelmingly, increasingly popular topic for a lot of photographers. But very often, you might get some pretty noisy images because it's dark out. So now you might be able to explore different scenarios in very low light situations where you might have not taken the shot previously. Maybe it will work out for you now. Also, one thing that happened to me in the recent future is that my flash broke. In that scenario, I wish that this denoise functionality was a part of Lightroom already. Because if it was, I would have felt a lot more confident in shooting in natural lighting in a very low light indoor scenario with the ability within Lightroom to get rid of some of the noise. Instead, I had to rely on outside plugins to do just that. One of those plugins is Denoise AI from Topaz Labs, and we'll do a comparison to see how it competes, to see if Lightroom holds up to Topaz Lab and is even worth getting Topaz denoise anymore. Okay, so the sun is setting quite enough now. We need to wait a little bit longer here because it might be a little bit too light out. I'm gonna use my Sony a6400 with a 1424 full frame Sigma lens. The reason why I'm not using my a7 IV is because it actually handles low light pretty well. The Sony a6400 is just a little bit less good in low light. Honestly, right now it's 60 degrees out, the birds are out, crystal cool, crisp air. Nice to just relax here and wait a little bit for the light to go down a little more. Then we'll do some, nature photography type stuff. I'll try and get some self-portraits, and then we'll head back and see what we can do in Lightroom. Okay, so I think it's finally getting a little bit dark enough, so let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Okay, so the goal here is to try and find some flowers, preferably some trillium. It's a little bit harder to find, but if we can, I think that'll be a pretty good test of low light because it's nice and dark down there. Maybe do some pictures of ferns and then try and execute some self-portraits the best I can. I'm not the best at self-portraits. But it's just for a test of denoise. So I guess it's not that big of a deal. All right, so I'm giving up on finding trillium. Haven't been able to find anything. I've been walking for about a half mile now. It's getting pretty dark out. So I have some white flowers here that I'm gonna take an image of. I'm gonna set the exposure pretty high just to get a little bit darker artificially and crank up my ISO to try and create some noise so we can test it in Lightroom. Okay, so this is the a6400, like I said, and I'm pumping it all the way up to ISO 3200 at 1/80th of a second exposure with an aperture of f2.8. Let's go ahead and take a picture of this flower here. And of course, we always have to take some pictures of ferns, right? And lastly, we're gonna finish off with some self-portraits, and then I'll head back to my office and do some editing. Let's get a nice awkward self-portrait angle here. Okay, that should be good enough. Not gonna be the best photos, but hey, we're just testing denoise, right? Okay, so I'm really excited to check out this new denoise feature, so let's jump right into the Lightroom here. And here's the first image of that flower that we took. And if we zoom in, you can see there's quite a bit of noise, to be honest. So let's go ahead and zoom back out, and let's go into here, and right now you can see the new thing that they have added, which is called noise reduction. Let's go ahead and click this denoise button. And you can immediately see it renders a preview of what the denoise functionality might do. Now we can play around with this slider bar to show that as you decrease it, more noise appears in the image, and as you increase it, there's very little noise. However, I fear that if it's so far to the 100%, you might introduce what might look a little fake or artificial. We don't want to do that. We still want the photo to look realistic. So let's go ahead and put it at like 75 here to test it out. So let's go ahead and press enhance, and it generates a new DNG file, which is Lightroom's default RAW setting that they use. It takes about 15 seconds to render out, and let's go ahead and compare both of these images right away. All right, so to compare these, I want to go ahead and export both of the full resolutions here. So let's go ahead and export a large into this final folder, and this is the original image that I just did that to. And let's go ahead and check out the new DNG that they just generated. And zooming in, it does look extremely clear, kind of like it did in the preview, so that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and export that into the same folder here. Okay, so here is the first one. And if we zoom in, yes, we can in fact see noise. And if I go over here, this should be the enhanced one, which denoise ran its little magic on. And if we zoom in, yeah, it looks extremely crystal clear. That's actually quite impressive. It doesn't look too fake, that I think. If you guys think it looks a little fake, let me know, because I'm not personally feeling that way. Let's see if we can do a side-by-side here. So one. Okay, so over here we'll see the original file without, running denoise, and over here we'll see the new file that was generated after running denoise. And looking at them right now, you can clearly tell the clarity of the one that was enhanced is a lot better than it was before enhancing it. Let's zoom into similar parts of the flower here, and we can clearly tell, yeah, it looks quite good. It looks phenomenal, to be honest. This is actually very impressive, and it's going to honestly help you quite a bit in low light scenarios. So next I want to go ahead and yeah, let's go ahead and launch this into Denoise AI here. And here it is. I already populated the pictures just for, ease of use here. And we're gonna go ahead and here's the previews. Let's go ahead and save this image. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison from Topaz to Lightroom and see which one we think performs better. I think it might be quite similar. So let's see here, open up the Topaz one, and then we're gonna go ahead and open up the Lightroom enhanced version. Bring that over to the side. Okay, here are our two images. Lightroom enhanced over here, the Topaz Labs over here. Now, interestingly enough, just from first glance, the enhanced version from Lightroom looks a lot more vibrant. So I'm gonna zoom in here. Okay, there's the flower, and there's the flower. It almost changed the colors, and I don't know if my Topaz Labs settings did that. Because if you look at these greens, you can clearly tell that these are a lot more, almost a blue tint to it, and over here is more of an orange hue to it. So let's go ahead and look at Topaz Labs here and see if it did anything. Back to the editor. I guess maybe click low light. Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely doing something to the image that Lightroom is doing differently. But coming back over here and looking at these images, they both look really good. Don't get me wrong. I think they both look really, really good. But in my opinion, if I was picking which one I thought looked better, oh man, I think the Lightroom one, at least for me, wins out. What do you guys think? Do you like the Topaz version more, or do you like the Lightroom version more? I think it might be a little bit user preference. Like, I can totally get on board with someone liking one over the other. But at least for me personally, Lightroom wins out, and definitely enough where it's, at least for me, not worth it to invest in something like Topaz Labs denoise moving forward. All right, so that was the main test that I wanted to do, you know, comparing Lightroom, the original version, to the denoise version, and comparing both denoise versions from Topaz and Lightroom. I'm gonna play some more side-by-side comparisons here while I go over a couple things and my thoughts of it all. So like I said, yes, I believe Lightroom denoise is an amazing tool that a lot of creators are going to utilize. Whether you're flash breaks, or you're shooting in low light, or you didn't properly plan for an event, or you just want to increase overall clarity, there's a lot of functionality you can use with denoise. But overall, I think Adobe nailed it out of the park with this one. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Definitely check out denoise if you have Lightroom. If you like this content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I really greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.